Hey guys, I just wanted to give you an update about the fertility treatments that we've been doing and what we've been up to the past 6 months or so in regards to that. First and foremost, if you haven't seen our infertility journey where we talk about cancer and PCOS, we will link that above. Make sure and check that out as it kind of explains everything a little bit better and will help you to understand this video a little bit more. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our, okay, I just scratched myself and I'm like so red right here, like everywhere. Anyways, okay. We initially started fertility treatments in January of this year. And as many of you know, Dylan has been in Atlanta the last few months working. He was here for one of the treatments. The other two, he wasn't physically able to be with me during those. I want to share something that has helped us feel a little bit more connected during this process, and that is an app called Abridge. This is what it looks like. Basically, it gives you the ability to record everything that is talked about during your visit. You can then save it for your own records or you can share it with others. It's given me a lot more confidence going into my appointments where I can save everything and then send it to Dylan. That way he knows everything that's going on. He feels connected. We're all on the same page.
So I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this app. I am here in Atlanta. I had to fly home a couple of weeks ago and we actually tested this app out in person. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, an app that records your doctor's visits, gets you all the points. I'm like, how is this gonna work? Simple. You set your phone on record, set it down on the table, go about your appointment. It records everything. You hit done, it'll summarize it, and in a few minutes, it'll send you a summary of the entire doctor's visit, but the algorithms here are really well done. It'll highlight key points, little paragraphs, and you just kind of scroll through and it knows all the doctor's terms, just medical terms, and you click on each box and it will play back word for word on the fly the actual recording, and it will highlight, kind of like sing-along manner, each word. Really simple to follow along. It captures everything. It's really well done, really well made.
We'll check the vitamin D level too, just to see where you're at with your vitamin D.
Okay. Is that will come just from the blood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be
So I'll be out here working. Delia will be at home. She goes to, lots of doctor's visits. Instead of having to call me and catch me up to speed, she just sends it to me. I pull it up. I just scroll through it really quick while I'm busy. When I'm done with work, I actually play back the entire thing, listen to the whole thing word for word, and I just get caught up to speed. It's like you're there. I don't miss anything. I listen to the entire appointment. So I think of how much this can help. I'm thinking of like teenagers with ADHD going to the doctor. Mom's busy at work, can't go. He gets home. Honey, what'd the doctor say? He's not gonna remember everything. I think of caregivers. I think of, for the elderly, new mothers who go for the first time to listen to all this stuff about their babies and their newborns, and it's overwhelming. There's a lot. Doctors talk about a lot. You're not gonna remember it all. This app is perfect. You literally just go and hit record, do it, or for your own personal records. The best part, it's completely free. So there's a link in our description below. Download it, use it on your next doctor's visit. You're not gonna be disappointed. Why not? I'm growing my beard out. Delia won't let me cut it. So again, the app is Abridge. Use it, download it, it's great. Back to you, beautiful.
I just wanted to share this with you as it's helped us tremendously. So the first cycle that we did was very simple and smooth. We basically did Femara or letrozole for 5 days. I went in day 3 of my cycle, took it for 5 days until day 8. And then on day 8, I had an ultrasound to make sure there were no active cysts growing in my ovaries. Everything was good there. He didn't see any active cysts growing. So he told us day 12, I need to do the trigger shot, and he gave us a timed schedule of when everything needed to happen. He said from that point, you'll come in 2 weeks later and you will do a blood test. This is basically where we'll test for the pregnancy hormone and we'll let you know if it was successful or not. So I went in, did the blood test. They called me back within a couple hours and said, unfortunately, the test was negative. And I was like, okay, that sucks. So I had a moment, and then I regathered myself and was like, okay, let's go into the next treatment. Let's just keep trying. We have to stay positive and optimistic. So the next time I went in, I actually did an HSG test, which basically they put a dye up through your fallopian tubes to make sure that everything is open and there's no blockages. And after we did that, he said everything looked great. There were no issues. So he had recommended that our next treatment, we do something a little bit more aggressive. The next treatment, we decided to do IUI, Intrauterine Insemination. This basically is when they take a catheter through the cervix up to the uterus and implant semen. Basically, the sperm doesn't have to travel as far to get to the egg to fertilize it. It was pretty much the same as the first cycle. I called them cycle day 1. I went in cycle day 3. I started Femara and dexamethasone. I also had 3 injections that I was doing as well, gonal F injections, which basically help your follicles to grow. From day 3 to 8, I took the Femara and dexamethasone. I went in for an ultrasound again to make sure I didn't have any active cysts growing and everything looked good. Then they gave me my injections. So I took my injections the next 3 days, which let me tell you, this was probably the worst part for me because I hate needles. The thought of having to inject my stomach by myself was just so terrifying to me. And actually Dylan helped me the first time, and you guys. So you're supposed to pinch the skin, insert the needle, and then let the skin go before you insert the liquid. We didn't follow that as we should have. We like completely messed that part up. And so we were injecting the medication as we were both squeezing it. And it hurt so bad. I started screaming at the top of my lungs because it hurt so bad. And I started crying. It was just the worst thing ever. And that was my first injection I've ever done. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how people do this. This is the worst thing ever. Then we watched the video again and we learned, oh, you have to release the skin before injecting the medication. Okay, cool. Like, duh. Anyway, so I had to inject myself. Every single time I had to inject my stomach, it would be like an hour to 2 hour long process. Like I would stand there and stare at the needle and just like cringe and like just freak myself out so bad. Dylan would like come in. I'd be like, hey, leave the room. And he'd come in. He like, you still haven't done it? And I'm like, I can't do it. And he's like, you can do it, you can do it. We had to go through this like over and over and over, and then finally I like got used to it. Anyways, that was like a huge ordeal. After the 3 days of injections, I went back in for another ultrasound. The doctor said I had 4 follicles growing at a similar rate. So I had 2 measuring 17 millimeters and 2 measuring 15 millimeters. So he was like really happy with that. And he said usually like 1 or 2 become dominant after this point. So we'll just keep an eye on those. So I went in 2 days later, I had another ultrasound, and they were all growing at the same rate. So I had 4 that looked really solid and good. And he said, okay, we're gonna do your trigger shot tomorrow, which was 36 hours before I was supposed to ovulate, 36 hours exactly before the IUI. So I did the trigger shot, and the trigger shot actually didn't hurt as bad as the gonal F shots, but the aftermath was insane. Like I had the worst abdominal pain. Felt like somebody had kicked me in the stomach like over and over and over again. Like I just felt bruised everywhere. It was the weirdest thing. But luckily it only lasted for like a day or 2. And then 36 hours later, I went in for an IUI. So they took the catheter, inserted it through my cervix up to my uterus, and released the sperm. And it took about 5 minutes. It wasn't painful. It felt like a pap smear. Yeah, like that was that. And so they're like, okay, we'll come back in 14 days from today and we'll do another blood test and we'll see what the results are. So during this time, I was like super obsessive with following every single day of like what I should be feeling, to like symptoms, to like implantation symptoms, to cramping, to just, I was like over analyzing and like obsessing over every little thing that was happening because I was so excited and I just wanted this to happen so bad. And I just became obsessed with the process, probably to a point that's like not very healthy, as I was just thinking so much about it. Finally, the 2 weeks came up. We went in, did the blood test, and she called me back and she said, your results are negative. And I just was like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Like, I don't want to do this anymore, right? After about like a week of just an emotional roller coaster, I was like, hey, we're gonna do this again. Like, I'm not giving up. Like, we are going to do this. We're gonna get pregnant. I have a feeling it's soon. Like, I can't give up. And so we started our third cycle, and it was actually the same thing as what we did before. So I went through that whole process again. Everything looked good, except this time I had one follicle that became the dominant one, and it measured at 17 millimeters. He was like really excited about this. I did my trigger shot 36 hours before, went in for the IUI. Everything was smooth. Everything went really well. Again, I went through that 2-week period where I was just like crazy obsessing over symptoms and just researching everything about pregnancy and everything there could be about it. I did my blood test, and again, it was negative. And I'm like, okay, I need a break. Like, this has become so overwhelming for me. And I went through so many hormones, from the shots to suppositories that I had to take. It was just so much for me, and my hormones were like all over the place. And I just was like, I think I need a break. And I was so just broken down and so sad for like 3 days. I was like in a dark place, and I'm like, how can I go from 4 follicles to 1 follicle and nothing's working? Like, it's from like one extreme to the other. I don't get it. I don't understand. And I think that's the most frustrating part for me, is I don't know at what point in the process things are going wrong. And I'm a person that likes to like break down every little thing, and I couldn't break it down because I didn't know where it was going wrong in the process. And so that was really frustrating for me. I've decided to take a little break as far as fertility treatments. It doesn't mean we're not trying anymore. We are definitely trying. I got a lot of recommendations from people to take Balance by Lonnie New, so I've been taking that. I have to say I love it. It's cleared my skin tremendously. It's like made the hugest difference. With that being said, it's important for me to tell you guys how I'm doing right now, because it took a minute for me to get here. I was so down during our treatments, and I think a lot of it was from hormones. Like, my hormones were just fluctuating so much that my emotions were just all over the place. I was down for probably about 3 or 4 days after that third cycle. Then I just got this feeling of, it's just not time right now. Like, it's just not the right time. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that it's just not the right time. And I think as soon as I accepted that and was like, okay, like, I will take a step back, focus on other things, which I have been, continue to try, but not become like obsessed with the process and like what I was doing when I was doing the treatments. I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually so happy with where I'm at right now. I feel so much peace, and I feel so much happiness with where I'm at right now, and it's given me the opportunity to focus on other things, other dreams and goals that I've set for myself, and I'm so grateful that I was able to realize that. I kept having this overwhelming feeling of, it's just not the time, it's just not the right timing for you right now. I have 2 friends that are pregnant, and I'm so excited for them, but coming to the conclusion and realizing that it's not the right time for me has made the process so much like easier for me. And I think what helps me a lot is that I don't compare my journey and myself to other people. And I think that's so important when you're going through something like this, or just in life in general, to not compare yourself to other people, because whether you have 5 kids or you have 0 kids, we're all on our own journey and we're all doing amazing things. Everybody's gonna have their time for what is important to them. I do have a lot of things that I wanna do and that are important for me to do for myself, and goals that I want to reach individually for me that I've set for myself. And I feel like I have tried more aggressive treatments, and it's not happening right now for a reason, and I'm okay with that. It gives Dylan and I the opportunity to spend more time together and enjoy him and I as a couple. I'm happy with whatever journey I'm on. I'm just so happy that I was able to realize that. So I want you guys to know that I'm doing good, Dylan's doing good. He has been so supportive. We support each other. Of course, we have moments where like, ugh, but we know that it's just not the right time right now. We're totally fine with that, and we're going to continue trying just naturally without fertility treatments for right now. But we're so happy with our life and with the journey that we're on, and we feel like it'll lead to greater blessings in the long run. I wanted to share that with you guys. I just want to say thank you for all of the support, all the love that you guys share consistently. We're so grateful for it. Life is really beautiful. Like any journey that you're on, whether you have kids or you don't have kids, your journey is just as beautiful as somebody else's. And you can't ever compare your life or your journey to somebody else's because it's completely different and it's so irrelevant, and we each have our own individual paths. So it's really important to remember that. But let's say hi to Dylan in Atlanta. Hi, babe.
Hi, babe.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, thank you.
I miss you.
Oh, you know I miss you too.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too, babe.
For the time being, we've both felt a lot of peace with where we're at with our journey, and we just wanted to share that with you guys and update you on the treatments that we've done. It's so important to find beauty in your journey and in your life, to not compare to anybody else. So with that, be happy, be kind, life is beautiful.